clip.
What?
All right. Yeah, they like it a little closer.
Well, you're like cutting off like half my face, man.
I don't care about your face.
Wow, that's rude.
It's my face that's important. It's the whiteboard that's important.
Gosh.
My face doesn't mean
I
anything.
don't care about
Okay,
your
can you
face,
see? There's 2
man.
people. Can you hear us okay? 3 people out there?
Give him a minute.
Give you a minute to tell me if you can hear me all right, see me all right.
Let's see. I'm going to check and make sure it's showing up. And since you've had some dorky issues in the past and gone live on your personal page.
Yes. Oh, they can hear you. All right. Thanks.
Glad you were
Yeah,
back.
I'm glad to be back too. It felt, it didn't feel like a great break for me, to be honest with you, because I had to create 6 unique presentations, each one of them an hour long. And but it was good. I enjoyed it. We had a good conference, BYU Family History Conference.
Mm-hmm.
And then
BYU Education
BYU
Week.
Education Week was fun. So I did Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Mm-hmm.
It was really great, and there was lots of good people. They never gave me a big enough room, but
No.
they had it overflow at BYU Education Week.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. A couple of years before, they gave us the little theater, and they still had overflow.
The year you had the theater, we filled the theater, we filled the overflow room, and there was like people standing out in the hall.
So I think it's
it
good.
did
But there
not end well.
At Education Week, we had big name people, so they had big name people there.
Sure.
Draw lots of people. All righty. Well, thank you for coming today. I figured there'd be either a ton of people wanting to watch this, or there's going to be nobody that ever joins again.
They're like, good heavens, thank you that Ron is no longer doing these.
Yeah. So, well, the big, while we're kind of letting people come, the big news, of course, is we released a new version of the Family Tree user interface for the person page.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's funny. You get used to doing things a certain way. When somebody moves things around and changes things, well, that can cause frustration. I get it. And we kind of moved everything around.
It's kind of like when Mom rearranges the drawers in the kitchen, and she puts knives on, like they started out on one side of the kitchen and then she rearranges it and knives end up like on the other side next to the fridge. And you're like, that makes no logical sense, but it's there. But
then we move things around in the client. There's a reason we did, and I'll spend a minute or two talking about that while we're kind of gathering.
Mm-hmm.
But I was telling Tegan there, I said I got a message, a text message from a guy that said we just released the client, and then maybe
that was Friday, right?
Thursday afternoon around 3:00, 2 something.
Okay.
About 2 or 3 minutes later, I get a ding on my email that says it was a Good Satisfaction post, and it said, "Oh, the stuff on beta is now on production." Then the very next one that happened to like 2 or 3 seconds after that was, "I hate the new format." So, and there is a lot of frustrations, and I don't get upset about that because we move things around and did that, and actually there's some questions that are in our list. I did a peek preview of the ones that people have already submitted, and some are about the new format. We'll talk about it, but I'll give you overall the purpose for the new client format. We didn't necessarily go in intending to change things, but I mean, since we're in there changing it, we basically had to rewrite the whole person profile page, person page. And while we're there, we're gonna make improvements in what we believe are good. And one of the major goals was to increase the speed. It didn't feel very snappy at the beginning because we had when the news got out, there was a whole lot of people that joined in, and it kind of got a little crowded. But the purpose was to speed it up. So we did a heavy analysis to figure out what data we actually needed, what data we didn't need. We ended up reducing the amount of data that's bringing down from the client by 50%. So we're bringing half the data down. But that resulted in like 300 or 400 8% increase in speed when we measured it. So that's good. And we also, when we bring data down, we don't bring all the data down. So there's separate tabs now. And when you click a tab, we bring the data down. Then if you don't, click on a tab, then you don't pay the penalty of having to wait to download that data.
Sacrificing the speed to bring it.
Well, if you want to have it, then you pay the price of downloading. And if you aren't interested in looking at that tab, then there's no cost for you in speed or download time from the internet. So that was the idea.
Okay.
I get it. You have to get used to it. I hope people like the new timeline view. I think this is just our first pass on it. We have several new capabilities we want to add to it, but I think it's really cool. I think it's excellent. It's a way for you to kind of see things, events of your person in the order, and the hint. I think having the hints in there is. It may feel weird that they're there, but it's actually a great way for you to see that hint in context of the person and the family, and you can judge then if that hint that may help you in judging whether that hint is really about that person. Because if it's talking about, how old he was, and you look and it's before he was born or something, then that's a pretty good indication that hint's not for that person. And well, we'll get to some of the questions as we go, but. Thank you for being patient. We did have, not a ton, but probably, 10 or 20 bugs that came out. But you kind of expect that when you rewrite the whole thing. But it's really doing well considering we rewrote everything. And the team was very responsive. They fixed the bugs really quickly when that was reported. They were usually on it and fixed and out with the new release within half an hour to an hour. So. It was good. So if you have any issues that you see that continue to happen, feel free to send me email, ron@familysearch.org, and I'll get it to the right teams, and they'll take a look and see if we can reproduce it and fix it. Okay, you got some of the questions. Let's have some questions here, and then we may want to take some questions from you all because I'm sure you're dialing in to ask some questions that you may not have already entered in. So feel free to ask some questions live too. But
do you want to do like?
Well, let's start with
half questions and half live.
Well, we'll see. Let's do at least the beginning of the ones because there's some ones there that were before.
Oh, I know.
August. So.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to just dive right in?
Yeah, dive right in.
I guess we should mention while I'm scrolling to the questions. Jarrett is not here because he moved away to go to college.
Yeah, he's a junior, and he's going up to Utah State, and it's great. He got a scholarship because his grades are great, and he got accepted in the John Huntsman School of Business, which he's interested in. So good news for him, and he's doing well. He says he could use a little help with his accounting class, but he's going to labs and study halls and doing fine.
So you get me back. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Well, once in a while we may get the missus over here doing stuff too.
We're going to try to warm her up.
I need to get her knowing what to do.
Get her practicing on this.
Yeah.
Too. Okay, so our first question comes from Jen. Wants to know, in the app under settings, there's a section titled request names, and it says coming soon. What can we look forward to? What is this feature, and when can we expect it?
All right, she's talking about Jen, right? Jen was talking about the mobile app. So let's be clear, this isn't on the website. This is on the mobile app, and she called it, what did she say it was?
Request names.
Request names.
And it says coming soon.
Right, coming soon. Now this isn't, and it's not going to be called request names.
Okay.
The Android release has already released with this thing.
Cool.
The Apple release of this feature, we've submitted to Apple. They usually take a couple of days. And so in a couple of days, a new version of the family tree will come out. You'll want to upgrade so that you get it. And it's going to have a new name. The new name is Ordinances Ready.
Okay.
And let me tell you what that's going to do. When you get a new version, when you get the new version installed and it's activated and turned on, then what will happen, and this is part of if you recall, if you're a long-time listener, not, if you're a regular listener, you may recall that we're working on revamping the temple ordinances, how the reservations work, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. We've talked a little bit about it off and on. Well, this is the first part of these changes.
Right. And
so Ordinance Ready, what it does is you'll go to your temple list, and this only works on the mobile right now. So it'll only be on the mobile. It'll be about another month to 6 weeks when we'll have a version that's on the website. So the mobile team got done early, so we decided to go ahead and ship it. And when you go to your temple list, when anybody goes to their temple list, it doesn't matter if they're youth or adults or whatever, mm-hmm. or whether they have ordinances or not. You go to your temple list and you will see a green button show up on the first page of your temple list. If you scroll, it'll go away. But if you scroll back to the top, the button will come back at the bottom of the temple list, and it'll be green and it'll say Ordinances Ready. When you click Ordinance Ready, you'll get a menu that will pop up that will let you select what ordinances you want to take to the temple, or you want to get so you can take to the temple. So you'll select, you get 5 choices. You get baptism and confirmations. We do them together. You get initiatories, endowments, sealing the parents, or sealing the spouses. And you can pick one of those choices. When you pick it, then the magic happens. And this is really cool. And I'm going to write some of this down so I can turn around and show it to you. So the first place that Ordinances Ready, so its job, Ordinances Ready job is to give you a related name of one of your ancestors who need that ordinance. Okay. So the first place it's going to look is it's going to look in your reservation list. It's going to look through your current reservation list. Let's say you click baptism and confirmations. It'll look in your reservation list to see if there's any baptisms or confirmations that are ready to go to the temple. Okay. And it's going to try to find five baptisms and confirmations. Let's say it finds 3 on your reservation list already. It'll put that in the results list. And then the next thing it looks at is it looks at reservations that you've shared with the temple. So let's say you were asking for an ordinance that you want to take to the temple, and you had shared some of those ordinances to the temple. Then what we'll do is if we don't find enough on your reservation list, then we'll continue looking in the ordinances you've shared with the temple. And if there's some ordinances of that kind, that type, like baptism, confirmation in this example, and you have some that you shared with the temple and they're still available, we'll pull those ordinances back. That will essentially pull them back, but we're going to pull them off the temple list and put them in the set that you can print. Mm-hmm. If we can't find anything in your reservation list or that you shared with the temple, then we're going to crawl your tree. We're going to crawl your tree, and we're going to go up several generations, and we're looking for a person in the tree, in your lines, and we'll go up and we'll go down, not too far back, so don't fret on that. It goes back 7, 8 generations, goes down 4 or 5, and we will look for anybody who has a baptism and confirmation that needs to be done. If we find somebody that's ready, meaning it's a green temple, we check it to make sure it has no data problems. We check it to make sure that it qualifies for temple ordinances. We check it to make sure that it has no possible duplicates that we can find. We check to make sure it's outside of the 110-year rule, so you don't have to ask for permission. And if it passes all of those requirements, then we'll return it to you as part of the set that we give you. So it does all that, and then the next screen that will pop up is say, well, here we found your reservation, we found your ordinances, and we'll give you up to 5 of those baptism and confirmation. If we can't find 5, then we'll give you 4 or 3, however many we can find. And then we'll show them on the screen, and there'll be a button to click to say, how am I related to this person? There's a button to click to go to that person in the person page to go look at them. And then there's a button at the bottom to say, yeah, okay, I want them. If you click okay, then if it's a Green Temple one, we'll reserve it for you and put it on your list. And then we'll print right there. You just click it, we reserve it, put it on your list. We print the cards for baptism and confirmation. And then you just send that send the PDF to the printer from your phone. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, some temples will let you take your phone in. You can show them the number, and they'll print it there. Yeah, print cards for you. So that's Ordinances Ready, Part 1. Okay, I said it's Part 1 because there is 4 more versions of Ordinances Ready planned to come, and each new version will have more and more and more capability. The idea now. You'll listen to this and you'll go, oh, gee, this is not any different than some of these other ordinance crawlers. We call them ordinances crawlers. But I wanted to make sure you saw this. It looks at your reservation list. If it can't find it on your, if it gets as many as it can off the reservation list, if it gets enough, it stops there. If it can't get enough, it goes to the reservations you've shared with the temple. If it can't find enough there, then maybe it says finds 2 or 3 here, 1 there, and then it crawls your tree and finds 1 there, then that's okay. That's what we'll give you, those 5. So that's Ordinances Ready is the name. In the future, there'll be 7 more things on the list where we're going to look to find you a name to take to the temple. The goal is not to fill up your reservation list. We're not like the other places, you know, the other crawlers that go way back to Adam and back down and give you, you know, 500 names or 1,000 names. You'll do that. That's not our intent. And we don't, personally, I don't care for those kinds of things, because what I want is not one person to have all the ordinances from the tree. I want everybody in the family to have a related ordinance that they can take. And that doesn't work if one person reserves them all. Okay. Sure. So that's what the request names button that was listed now, but in the new version, Ordinance Ready. Was there any questions on that? Did anybody have any particular question? Scroll down. Did anyone? Oh, I got to scroll down. It's stuck on the top. I'm going to scroll down, see if there's any questions that you have about Ordinance Ready.
Thank you for the updates. Let's see. Sounds great. Found the Easter egg for this and then showing everybody. It's such an awesome.
Yeah, there's an Easter egg. If you don't want to wait, you can push the button where it says request family names. You can push that button 5 times. You can tap it 5 times in a row and it'll turn it on. A little secret we put in there for testing purposes. But since it's coming out in 2 days, I don't care.
So go tap it 100 times.
Yeah, that doesn't help you. Oh, I'm sorry, somebody lost some electricity. Hope you're back.
Oh, we hope you're not in the.
Hope you're not in the fire down here.
Or in the
hurricane. Yeah, Florence. Scary, scary.
That's a scary. I hope all those people down there are safe. We hope you're like not in the path.
Yeah, evacuate. Don't wait around. I don't know. That's scary. I don't know. I'd be too scared.
It's ready. It's releasing in 2 days, Andrea.
Yeah, the Android version's already out.
Apple will be out.
Apple will be about 2 days. We've submitted it to Apple, but they have to go through their evaluation and then they release it. Will only
be available on the app as of right now?
Yes, it will only be on the app for now, but in about sometime in October, we'll have it running. A little before October or in the middle of October, we'll have it, a version that's running on the website. It'll do the same thing. Okay. Okay, so that's what Ordinances Ready is. Okay. That was a good question.
So I'm not sure if you want me to read this one out. This one gives like a PID. Would you rather me send one to you?
Oh yeah.
Would you rather me send that to you? So you
well, no.
Tamara
Stevenson. Is Tamara there? Are you out there, Tamara?
If you're on, will you let us know? Like, we'd be more than happy to answer with you. We don't want to answer it if you're not here.
Yeah, well, we'll go back. There was more stuff down at the bottom.
Well, this is
no. Oh. In the middle.
Sorry. That's the top of the question. So. I just didn't know.
Yeah, I'll probably.
You want me to send it to you?
Yeah, I'll send it to me. I mean, I know the answer I'm going to give, but I want to. It's more detailed.
I just didn't know if it was because it relates directly to a specific question. Okay, we'll move.
Now, I will say that. How come I can't?
I don't know. Your computer hates you. Use your mouse.
Let's see.
Are you having a flat finger incident?
No, the mouse is in the wrong place for my brain.
Okay. Do you want me to move to
Yeah, you are correct. Cameron mentioned on there, sometimes he finds a green temple that has no duplicates, no data problems, and still not a valid name ready to take the temple. And that shouldn't normally be happening. So we need to, if you have some of those, you need to email me the PID so that I can go get the system a little bit more knowledgeable. So it should be valid if it's got a green temple on it. It should say that it's at least qualifies. Remember that qualification is a rule that are the rules that the temple department sets, or we work with the temple department to say, will something qualify? And generally, the rules for qualification are not super rigid because there's just places in the world where you just don't have sources or you don't have detailed data, like oral histories that are handed down, those things like that. So they have to be fairly broad to accept them because otherwise people in many parts of the world would not be able to do any ordinances. The new feature will not cause problems like take a name, Cameron, because it does something that nobody else does. And my plan is to work with these partners so that they do the same that we're doing. And that is, we're taking it off your reservation list. So if you have 10 baptisms and confirmations, and then you push the baptism and confirmation button, we're just going to give you 5 right off your list. So you're not getting 5 new ones. You're getting 5 off of your list that's already there. So it actually becomes pretty cool to use because you're going to go to the temple and you say, "Oh, I need an endowment." Well, you push the button and it'll find an endowment right off your temple list and print the card. So it kind of goes through your temple list, and because it's on your temple list, Take a Name never looks at your temple list. They're just looking for more people to put on your list.
Okay, just to clarify, when you do click the button, you can specify a specific ordinance.
That's right. You can. Well, you get a choice.
So you don't get like a whole person with all of their ordinances.
Well, if it's a green temple, you get them all because that's the rule for green temple is you get all the ordinances because you're now responsible to make sure all those ordinances get done.
Okay.
But if it's not a green temple, then we just pick off the ordinance that you're looking to do.
Got it. Okay.
That's the only thing we print because we're assuming you want to go do baptism and confirmations.
You're currently standing in the.
You're standing in line, or you're going, and we're going to go on Friday. I'm going to click this and get them ready to go, or print them out to go. Okay. Now the idea, I kind of got sidetracked. The whole purpose of this is because I want everybody in the church to have an opportunity to take a name of a related ancestor to the temple. That's our goal, to try to do that.
Yeah.
So as we add more elements to Ordinances Ready, it's going to be more about different ways that we can find related ancestors for you to take to the temple. And the reason why I want to do that is because if you're taking one of your personal ancestors, because they're your family, you feel that joy more fully when you take it to the temple. So there's 2 halves of the blessings, as explained by and repeated by several of the apostles and stuff. That there's 2 halves. There's the research half that you still have to do, and then there's the perform ordinances half. And when you do both of these for your ancestor, that's when you receive the greatest joy. So my goal in this is okay, you haven't done the research. You haven't done the research part. That's okay. I'll give you a name that matches, that's an ancestor of yours, and then I'll work to try to get you to do some research, maybe on another person. My goal is to try to, if I'm giving ordinances, my goal is to try to get you to come back to the tree and contribute to the tree and learn about the tree and learn how to do records and hinting and things like that. So we have that part of the work to still do, but our goal is to help you feel that special experience and then help you know how to have that more often by coming and adding your ancestors and updating them, getting them qualified. That's the purpose. Find My Relationship. Find My Relationship is on the mobile app. You have to go into the person. So this is Keith. Let me just double check here. You go into the person page of an ancestor. So let me go to one of mine. This is my grandma here. Oh, there you go.
I was going to say your grandma. Your camera's up.
I'm trying to figure out how to do it without getting a backlash. So that's my grandma.
Blanche.
Blanche. I'm going to go up to these, and this is iOS. So I'm going to go up to the three dots. How can I get a better picture here?
Would you like me to hold up for you?
Is it because of the light? See those three dots up there? Okay. Yeah, you have to stay steady. It's hard to see. I don't see any menus. All the first as close as you
right
get.
There.
Okay, see those three dots up in the top corner? I'm going to push those three dots. Turn around, push the three dots. And right there on that menu, the very first one says View My Relationship. See it? So you click on View My Relationship, and then it paints your relationship on the screen. There you go. That's how you do View My Relationship on the mobile app. This is iOS. The menu items are the same in Android, just a different way to select the menu. It's the standard Android menu. Okay. Let's see. And yes, and then Jesse mentioned, well, when I look at it, I only find female, and my husband has to look at it for male, and that's right. Ordinances Ready is for that individual, not for you to collect ordinances for your whole family. So if you're female, we're only looking for female baptisms and confirmations. If you're a male, we're only looking for male baptisms and confirmations, because these are ordinances that you personally are going to take, and that's how we've crafted it, right? It's for your personal temple worship, not for all of your family. And think of the beauty of if you're a family, genealogist, or you're having a family reunion or something. Now you don't have to go and find all the cards and print them out and all that stuff. You just tell everybody, push the ordinances ready, come with your card for baptism and confirmation and for endowments, the those are going to do endowments, and come with your card. And they have a great experience pushing the button. They'll see the people that are on the list. They can click and find their relationship, click and do their, go learn more about the person. Yes, Betty, that is correct. That's what I said. The temple qualification is less rigid than what most researchers or family historians would consider complete. Because they don't require sources, for instance. They don't require complete birth dates and all that kind of stuff. Let's see. What did Cynthia say? Yeah, that ordinance ready, Cynthia said, well, it gave me one off the temple list, and that's because you're using a prototype. That's not how the released one will work. Okay, but you snuck out the next part. The next part we're going to do with ordinance ready in the future is we're going to give you names off of the temple list, the shared temple list. Related names of ancestors off the shared temple list. And that's one of our next ones. And you must have happened to hit it right when we were testing a prototype to be able to do that. I understand people's concerns for the green temples. We're trying to be restricted in how far we go back and how far we go down. We're trying to be very careful to only give out so many. like 5 baptisms and confirmations. If you don't complete those 5 baptisms and confirmations, you hit, let's say you did it, it's on your reservation list, you hit it again, baptism confirmation. We're not going to get any more. You're not going to get any more until you get those done. So that's how we keep it from getting too crazy. And it's not any different than somebody walking the tree and clicking those green things if they're not all there. And we continue to work with the temple department to make the restrictions for qualification tighter and tighter. Right, and Paula, in the future, the related names on the temple list, your cousins will be able to pull them right off the temple list in the future. Ordinance Ready will do that. Okay. Okay, what else? Anything else? Okay, let's go to the next one. For the first time ever, I love the new changes. Thank you, Zia. Yeah, I know it takes an adjustment. I know that that's the way it is. That's why I don't get upset about it, because there were plenty of people that were angry, and we had some bugs that we still need to fix, and some new features, new changes we're going to make because things didn't work as we had expected as we were testing. It seemed to work well when we were testing, but when you put it in front of few 100,000 people, then things don't work as smoothly as you think, and so we're going to readjust a few things.
Right.
Okay.
I was going to say, what's crazy is when you released this version of Family Tree as compared to New Family Search, that was like a big
that was a big, and there was a lot of people who were upset when we went to Family Tree. But you got to remember, we haven't changed the interface basically on Family Tree since 2012.
Right.
So it's been
almost like
6 years you've been working with the same kind of look and feel, and so it's very comfortable.
Right.
So I understand. What else we got?
All right. Sheila says, I love the hints feature on the Family Search mobile app. My question is, how can I easily access the person page to edit or add new information? For example, a hint revealed a different birth date or place than the one listed for that person. I've attached the source to the person, but the original wrong birth date or place is still listed. There is no easy way to get to the person page to edit the birth or date place. I end up just copying the person ID, going to the FamilySearch.org, pasting the ID, finding the person, and making the change. Yeah. It would be so much easier if there was a direct route within the hint that could take me to the person page directly.
Yeah, this is a common request. So what she's asking is, I'm doing a resolution of a hint. One side has the hint, the other side has the person or the family in the Family Tree. Mm-hmm. And when she goes to attach the hint, she sees that the hint has more detailed information in some event, and the person doesn't have that detail. And she wants to put that detail on the person. And that's great. I don't necessarily have a problem with that, but Family Tree, as you know, because you're users of it, you use it all the time, you know that there are rules that we follow to try to slow the change of the bad changes. And one of those rules is when you go to change something, you need to see the person's reason statement, the prior person's reason statement. You need to see all the attached sources on that person or not on that vital event, on that event. And the idea there is that then you can see all of the evidence that everybody else has used, sources and reason statements, to prove while that value is the correct value. Well, the rule is we don't let you change it or without showing you those things. Since the source linker is has a desire to smash everything on one page, then they're struggling. We've been working together to get a new version designed that will allow you to do this, but in the new design version, it has to show the previous reason statement, has to show all the tag sources that are already there, and the value of that birth in all of those sources, so that you don't blindly take something from a record and overwrite something that's on the person and make it worse. That's the reason. And until we can get that solution, then I'm not inclined to endorse that change. I understand why you want it. I get it. All I can tell you now is, copy and paste it someplace and then go back to the person after you're done and paste it in and then type in your reason. But eventually it'll get there because this is a highly requested feature. Okay.
Richard Sullivan would like to know, is there a way to change the order of photos in an individual's memories?
Not currently. And we're not planning anytime soon to let you move them around like you do sources. But the memories team is working on some significant updates. And one of them is to be able to sort by event date of the picture. So what you're going to want to do is make sure you've got your dates and places in for all your pictures. And then what they'll be able to do is just say, sort by date, because that's the 90% of the requests that come in are like, I want to rearrange it, so I put it in chronological order. Well, that's by date. If you make sure you have your dates and places put in for your memories, and then when this feature comes out to say sort by date, you just click it and it'll all rearrange on the person page.
So do the work now.
Yeah, so make sure you put those in there because that feature will be coming, and then that'll be great. That'll be how you want it. Okay.
Let's see. Is there a way to enlarge the font on the person page?
Yeah, it's interesting. For those who've seen the page, we used to, everyone we talked to, everyone who was complaining about it, pointed out that the font was too small. But the interesting thing is the font is the same size as it was before. And we actually grew some font on the actual value because we wanted to make them stand out. But since we put more stuff around it, we put the number of sources, we put the word edit, we put other things around it. So it feels more cluttered and it's hard to pick out the value. And remember, the old one, the value was actually blue. So the blue color just jumped right out at you.
Right.
And the reason it was blue is because it was a link and you had to click the value in order to edit the value.
Correct.
Well, a lot of people got confused by that and didn't know how to change the value. So we had to change it so you had a little edit button and you click the edit. And so we have gone back and made sure that the fonts, we actually grew a few of them so they're a little bit bigger. We bolded the field names. So we bolded name, birth, christening. We bolded those titles so that hopefully it helps you segment and zero into the thing you're looking for. So let me know if that's still an issue. This was sent to us early, right?
No, she just asked.
Oh, she just asked.
I just was interjecting.
Yeah, if there is a way, it kind of can mess up your screen a little bit, but you can, in every browser, you can hit Control + sign, and it'll grow just a little bit larger each of your fonts on the page. And you can do ++++. But if you go too far, it starts wrapping things, and things fall off the side of the page, and so it gets ugly. So if you just bump that up by one bump or two, maybe you can see it a little more clearly. We'll continue to evaluate this and see if we need to do some more changes there. But we're kind of we made these changes just a couple days ago, so we kind of want to let it sit for a little while and see if you get accustomed to that, and then if not, we'll continue to make some adjustments.
Okay. Really fast, Kathy. This will not be weekly. We usually do them every other week.
Yeah, and we've already scheduled the next one.
The next one will be on the 27th of this month at 7:30 Mountain Standard Time. So we try to schedule them. I try to make him schedule them when we finish the last one for the month. I try to make him pick the next ones for the following month so that we can get them scheduled. That way you can kind of plan ahead.
We used to do it every week, but I got too pooped doing it every week.
He works way too hard. We'll have to wrap up 10 minutes early and we can tell you all the exciting things that's been happening in your life.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right. Jen wants to know, when merging two people with identical vital statistics, is there a difference between replace and reject for the individual statistics, or should I just ignore both options before clicking continue merge?
Yeah. So if you have a merge and you're looking at the birth, and the birth is the same on both sides, then it doesn't really matter. Replace just means you're going to take the data off from the duplicate that's going to go away and put it on the survivor. If they're identical, there's really no reason to do any more. I mean, the only thing that would be different maybe is a reason statement. I think we do show that, but I haven't done them in a while. Reject doesn't. Reject is a placebo.
Or replace and reject.
A reject means don't copy this data over. If you don't say move it, if you don't say change, then we don't copy it over anyway. So you can push reject, or you can push or don't push anything. Means the same thing. But some people felt like they needed to declare whether to take it or not take it. So we put the reject button in there so that you could say reject that one, yeah, take that one, reject that one, which is perfectly fine.
You tricky guns.
We just did it. Well,
you're like the Matrix, red pill or blue.
We started without it, and then people were worried that it would take it. And so we helped the user by letting them choose reject. Yeah, what else we got? Red or blue.
Mike wants to know, I sometimes find that the standardized places are sometimes duplicated and that some of them are incorrect. I find cities that are listed in the wrong state. I find places that list the city twice for some odd reason, and the town name is not the same as the county name. For example, the two towns might be Pittsfield, Somerset, Massachusetts, United States. It is also a place that is listed with the wrong state. This place is also a place that was originally in the state of Massachusetts, but Maine did not become a state until 1820 when it was separated from Massachusetts.
Yeah, okay. So let's talk a little bit about that. First off,
really fast, his ultimate question is, how do you make revisions to standardized places?
Oh, okay. Well, if you want to remember that not all standardized places are in the database, and that's just because it's an impossible job. The team is constantly adding more places to the standardized database. But as I've said in other instances, I say, how'd you like this? Your job is for the next 20 years of your life, try to enter in every place that's ever existed since the Garden of Eden.
Ready, set, go.
Go. And, you can spend 100 lifetimes and not get all the places. And even though their database does have some knowledge of territories versus whatever based on the time frame,
right,
we haven't really implemented a sticky way to say, well, hold on a minute here. If you enter this town, it didn't exist in the date that you said he died, so we're going to pick the older one. We don't have that logic in the system. You start and we match, where you type it in like it should be. We match the one that's closest matches the one you have. So there's going to be cases where you're going to get a newer name of a town or an older name of a town. I don't know about that particular example. I would think the town maybe is the same name as the county. Remember, we're putting in towns and counties and stuff like that. So if there's you go to the following place. Write this down. You go to FamilySearch.org, www.FamilySearch.org.
Right, nicely. That's an A?
Yeah.
Looks like an N.
Slash research slash places. Okay, this is where you go. If you want to leave a message behind for the folks who maintain that database, you go to www.FamilySearch.org/research/places. And in there, you can type in the place and see what it says about it. And then there's a feedback button in that tool, on that place. And you click on the feedback button, and then you give them this feedback. It goes directly to that team. They evaluate that. And I think in most cases, they change it fairly quickly. And as soon as they change it, we get it everywhere because it's a web component that we use. And just as soon as they update the database, then boom, we all use the new values. So that's the place.
Sorry, I'm taking notes.
Taking notes.
So that I can give you guys some post ideas in the future. So I can write these out for you guys later. Let's see. Okay, really fast. Someone had a question back at your merge question. She said, what about when you're merging two people where the information is not exact because one has been worked on and contains more info with just the state and the other one may have the town, county, and the state?
Well, I would always take the one that has the most info. Actually, I want you to, when you go to merge two people, I want you to look at those two people carefully, and the one that has the most information on it, the most sources, the most correct data, you know, has it's had a lot of community life, meaning good change logs and lots of comments. You should keep that one to make sure it stays. And so just swap the positions to make sure it's the one that's going to survive. Survivor's on the left, the being archived is on the right, and then start your merge that way. Two good reasons. One is you get all that data and you don't have to overwrite it, right? So you don't have to choose. You can hit the reject on all of them or do nothing. And then only the few pieces of data that you want to bring over, you bring over. So it saves time. You don't have to make as many choices. And the data is richer for the community who've been working on that person for a long time. You want to kind of keep that data around.
I guess the other thing we should mention too, if anyone's new, that when you merge, the information does not disappear into the universe. It still exists.
That's
if
right.
you ever need it back.
That's right.
It's not going to die.
I need to explain that when merge. When you have merge, you have two things that are the same. What you're doing is you're taking data from one and you're copying it over. Well, I should go swing the other arm because it's backwards.
Go the other way. You're backwards.
So this is the duplicate that's going to go away. This is the survivor.
Yeah.
So you take the duplicate and you say, put data from my duplicate on this one that's I want to keep.
Right.
And then once you've done that, this gets put away in archived away in the database. This survives. If something happens that said, oops, I shouldn't have merged those two together, you can do an unmerge, and that'll bring this one back and make this one go back the way it was.
Right.
If it was merged and then a bunch of changes were put on this person, and then you realize later, that other guy that I merged away is really a different person.
Right.
Then you can go in this person's change log and you can say restore, and it'll bring this person back just like it was when it went away. This extra data will still be there, and then you might have to do that on this particular data.
Move the changes.
Delete some of the stuff or change the data to the right values.
So don't panic. It's not gone. It goes in giant file folder.
None of the data disappears. It's just it's just hidden away because you said it wasn't valid.
Right. Okay. Joanne says when she merged an ant, the system kept the ordinance dates of the deleted person, which were more recent. Are the most recent dates the ones that remain with the person? Yeah.
First off, whenever you do a merge and there's ordinances on these people, so let's say this is the copy, the duplicate, this is the survivor. You do a merge, all of the ordinances from this person go on this person. Plus, this person still has the other ordinances. So that person has all the ordinances, the ones done a long time ago, the ones done a couple of years ago, and the ones done yesterday are all on this person. And what we show you on the ordinance tab is what's called the effective ordinance. And the effective ordinance is the first ordinance. So if you got baptized at age 8, then you get baptized again at age 15. The one that you did at 8 is the one that's effective because that, the first one is it takes. It's not like you have to do it again. I know there were occasions in the past when the Lord asked the people to be baptized again, but that's not so now. And so if you're baptized, it works. It doesn't stop working. And so yes, the one you see is the first one because that's considered the effective one. So if you take a merge, you merge these people together, and this person, you say they're the same people, but this one had the ordinance done early, then that, since it's over here now, the ordinance will show up as the effective one because it's the first one. Got it? Okay. Did that make sense?
It made sense to me.
Okay.
Rachel Paulson wants to know, does Family Search automatically change all living people to deceased at 110 years old?
We don't right now, but that's because we haven't spent the time to write the code. But our plan is that we will have a process that will comb through people's living areas and mark those people dead. Now we just don't go and change your data. So what we'll probably end up doing is a little bit more complicated. We'll go comb it, and then we'll send you a message or put a data message that pops up on that person, like a data problem, to say, hey, this person's more than 110 years old. Don't you think they should be marked deceased? And you'll be able to dismiss it because maybe your aunt's 114, she's still alive, for example. But our intent is to show you. Now, if your account, if you are a member, or there's some method that for non-members, we've talked a bunch about methods they can report when somebody is deceased in the tree that they had an account. So if you had an account and you become deceased, then of course we're not going to put that pop-up on there because you're not going to be looking at it because we disable the account.
Right.
So in those cases, we'll reach in, and if we find it's 110, we'll just mark them deceased, and then it'll pop up in the public world. And if you had memories and all those things on that person, that just goes up into the public world, and that'll be a great thing, and you can merge them with the copies. Okay, there we go.
I just want to let you know that I saw a story the other day about a 106-year-old man that went ziplining.
Oh, wow.
So you might need to up that age to 115 or something. I'm just saying, he went ziplining.
There's not very many of them,
and he looked super spry.
Yeah. I'm getting old, and I'm not even 60 yet, and I feel I'm about to fall apart.
She has one more question. She wants to know, why can't we copy the PID on every screen instead of just some of the screens?
You should, if you're in Family Tree, now there are other parts of the product that aren't as diligent, but if you're in Family Tree now with the new release, you should be able to look at, there should be any PID you see on the screen, you should be able to click with your left mouse, and it pops up a little dialog that says copy PID, and you click it and it'll copy the PID. That's your new Control-C, right? Or Command-C. And that should work everywhere in Family Tree. If it doesn't, you're free to send me an email, ron@familychurch.org, and tell me where it doesn't work. And I'll make sure that it's on the list to get taken care of. Now, some of it may not be that way because we haven't converted them to the new system. There's still parts of Family Tree we haven't converted, like Descendancy View isn't converted. Fan Chart isn't converted yet. There'll be other pages that might not be converted. And when we convert them, then we'll be doing that to them too. Okay.
Sorry. I'm trying to keep up with questions. Someone says it's linker.
What doesn't work on source? Copy. Well, that source linker is not part of Family Tree. It's not in the tree, right? It's outside the tree. It's by records.
On the summary card, on the
and I'll be okay. I need those. You make sure you copy that and send those to me.
Okay.
Because now, while you're copying and I'm waiting for my next question, I'll tell you some interesting news. I don't know. This is just so that you've always been able to ask me any question on the site, and that'll continue. But recently we've had some organizational changes, and as a result of those changes, I've picked up four more people.
How about instead of saying 4 new people, how about you say 4 new departments? That would probably be a little more accurate.
So now, you can yell at me about homepage, and you can yell at me about.
How about we do this? It'll be easier for them to just know what they can't yell at you about.
No, don't yell at me about wiki or
the Wikipedia page
or indexing.
The rest of it, all his fault.
Yeah, all my fault.
So he's been a little crazy. Hence the reason we didn't start September lives off right the first week of September, because that's when everything
I'm still adjusting. I'm still adjusting.
He comes home every night and barely makes it to the chair and passes out at about, usually right now is his bedtime, guys. He's asleep in his chair at about 8. So
it's pretty exhausting.
He's adjusting.
It'll get there.
We're getting there. So now you can ask any question under the sun if it's not Wikipedia or indexing. Those are the two that he'll have to go find from other people.
Yeah.
But other than that, he's your man.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to another question. Let's go on our list of people that submitted.
Okay. Your brother is making.
He's making remarks.
Comments. Okay. In Consultant Planner under Review Tree, it has possible opportunities. I like the list of tasks to do, and I have noticed that when I click on possible duplicates, go to the details page of some of the names listed, click on possible duplicates, there are no possible duplicates.
Right.
Why does that happen, and how can I clear it out? How often are possible opportunity tasks updated? Because I'll go through all the names under add a new event.
Well, I got confused a little bit. Sometimes it says possible opportunities, and the other one says possible duplicates.
I think she probably meant possible duplicates. This is Janae.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go through all the names under the add new event, and I'll show, and it still shows that I still have new events to add with the names. And
let me explain how currently the Consultant Planner works for its data. So what she's saying is that she goes in and says, I got 5 possible duplicates. I click it, I go check them, and there are not possible duplicates anymore.
Right.
And the reason, and then it's in other parts too, like opportunities and things like that.
Right.
And that's because the Consultant Planner uses data from the home page, which is the first page you log into. And what happens is when you log in, then that page causes the system to start walking your tree to find these opportunities and duplicates. So it walks up, I think it goes up like, I don't know, 7 or 8 generations, something like that, down like 3. And it looks for these possible duplicates and things like that. And then it stores it away in its database. Well, it doesn't go do that again until the next time you log in. So if you're on the page and you go off and you resolve them all, it's not like all of a sudden you're going to find a whole new set. At least not right now. The way it's designed is it does it once when you first log in, and then the next time you log in. And I don't even think it does it again if you log out and log in on the same day. I have to check that one. I don't know that one yet. Just got them. I've only had them for a few days. So.
Like a week.
So I'll have to check that. But I think generally it doesn't look again until at least the next day. So you have to log out, go home at night or bed, get up next morning, log in, and it'll restart calculating that again.
Clear out the
it just refreshes itself. It walks the tree the same way and says, okay, throw away the old ones that are all gone and put new ones in. Okay. What are you laughing about?
Your brother, he said, make sure next time you don't wear a striped shirt, it's making him dizzy.
It's making him dizzy. Well, don't look so close. Don't get.
I was going to say,
put your glasses
maybe
on.
You should wear your bifocals, Uncle David. So you don't get so dizzy. Congratulations. Congratulations. Hope it comes with a new pay raise. Unfortunately,
that's not how church works. So.
Nope.
But let me tell you why I think, and let me tell you why I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing because what it does is it brings more people that are doing the same thing. So you think of the homepage, it's always talking about the tree. It's always talking about hints. It's always talking about that kind of stuff, which is stuff I already had. By bringing them into the fold, then we can more tightly integrate and make sure that, for example, maybe it doesn't have to crawl the tree to find out stuff. We'll be able to help the homepage be more accurate and up to date, and offer you more things, because we can tweak the tree and change things to help make that a better experience. So I think it's a good thing because it just gets us all unified and together.
Make them work together.
Yeah, it's wearing me out. We'll see how long it lasts.
I told him he needed to
fire me or something.
He needed to get an assistant. He said he couldn't do that.
No, I can't do that.
So
anyway, well, thank you. I mean, I'm not doing it to brag. I'm just doing it to let you know that if you see me and I'm tired in the hallway, then
and that might be why we do them a little shorter, or B, we might have to
be a little late starting.
A little late because he, instead of coming home at 5:30-ish like he usually does now, he's coming home a little later and later because he's got more and more people to talk to and organize. So. Yeah,
one of the guys said that one of my peers said they couldn't come see me, so they had to schedule an appointment to come see me. I said, oh, you got an appointment with me? Yeah, I had to do that in order to get your attention.
Good luck!
Because I'm running from place to place. So, anyway.
I guess I have a quick question too I wanted to ask. We did this last year, and that's kind of around this time too. We went and did a meet some of the people behind the tree, and we sat down and we met
Riley,
some of the designers of the family tree. So we met Riley and I cannot remember his name. Bryant. And then we met some of the people that come out and interview you and see how you like the tree and how it interacts. Yeah. Is that something that you would be interested in doing again? And since now you work with a much larger team, we can include different areas as well in that interview. So.
Janae says, can you take that comment and send that to me?
Yes.
You
want an email?
Yeah. Okay. Send an email. Yep. Yes, there. Betty Lou's asking, do I make them watch the Facebook Live? No, but I have Tegan take notes for those issues or the question. And then she emails them to me, and then I go talk to that person and say, hey, I had this happen on my Facebook Live, and this is the issue, and can you tell me about it, and are you going to fix it?
Yeah, that's why it looks like half the time, I promise I'm really trying to pay attention, but half the time I'm over here typing is because I'm sealing your questions I'm in to make sure they get answered, and then if he says, oh, send that to me in email, I have a running tab of questions that every week I send him a big, huge email and I just say, urgent, read me, so that he'll go and go take the time to ask your questions to whoever needs to be asked so that we can get those answered for you.
Well, thank you. Our time is up. Thank you very much for coming tonight. I hope this has been useful. We didn't get through all the questions, I don't think. No. So we'll continue the next time. As a reminder, our next time is 21st. Is that what it is?
I think you said the 27th.
27th. Let me go double check.
Yep.
27th. So it's the 27th at the same time.
Last Thursday.
Last Thursday of the September. Yeah, and we'll just continue on the questions. If you have more questions, don't wait. You don't have to wait. Just go to Facebook and submit them in. Yeah. And they appear in our list, and we do them. We start from the top and go to the bottom.
Right, we do them in order.
Sometimes we'll jump out if a question, if the same question comes out on the live.
Or if a question is pertinent to one that we were currently answering. Yeah. But yeah, so if you have a question, the form is located in the pinned post. It's at the top of the page where it says, hold on, let me find it. It says hello, we're so glad to have you here. Before you go, please review a few things. At the bottom of that post, there's a link to the Google form. It's open 24/7, 365. So drop your questions at any time. We do answer them.
And once in a while, when I don't fall asleep in my chair, I actually pull out the phone and answer your
the inbox
Facebook
questions.
Inbox questions. I think I've been pretty good at it, actually.
You're a little behind, but
what am I at?
You're at 20, but I'll give you a pass because you have 2,500 emails in
your I did get when the client changed, I had well over 2,500 emails of people telling me what they liked and didn't like. But thank you very much for coming. I hope the system continues to help you. We're continuing to fix some of our issues with our new client. We're continuing to redesign portions based on your feedback. So I sat down with that client team just the other day, and we talked about 3 or 4 things that were reported to me that I saw that you told me about. And we've sat down and redesigned some of the pages, and they'll be working on that to get those pages a little bit better for us to work. Like, for instance, we don't want, when you go in to change a conclusion, and you see the sources and you click on the source and it pops up over the top of the conclusion. Well, that doesn't work because you're trying to compare the source to the conclusion. So you're hiding the conclusion. So that one they're going to redesign so that when you open the source in that area, it'll use the inline approach where it just expands the box and you see the source there in line. So it doesn't cover up the birth or whatever you're looking at, right? That's an example. Okay. There's been some others where you scroll. The intention, we're trying to be high performance. So the intention for having sources, this was something that people worried about, is you got sources on one tab and you got the vitals on another tab. Why did you do that? Because we analyzed it and we saw that, people were having to scroll down to find the sources, and then they look at it, write it down and memorize it, and then scroll back up to the top and then scroll back down to the bottom. Well, that's inefficient. And so the intent is, without opening another tab, We want you to be able to click on details and then click on sources, and then click on details, and then click on sources to go back and forth. That way,
so you can see both
to compare it, well, not identically at the same time, but really quickly. And to do that, we have to make sure that that page doesn't move from where you left it.
Right.
And that's the fix they're going to do that I think will be great. So you can scroll the page to where you want it, then you can switch back and forth between the two just as fast as you can go, and it'll look exactly the same as you go back and forth. That way you can say, well, it says here 1836. Oh, yeah, it says 1835. I got to change that. Oh, that says it, this and that, back and forth.
All right.
So anyway, all those things I think will be good. If you have more suggestions, certainly always welcome to send me an email. Yep. Thank you very much. Have yourself a good evening, and it's great being back, talking to you. And well, hopefully these things continue to be useful for you.
Yep. Please share with your friends. If your friends don't have Facebook, we do have YouTube.
Yeah, send them to the YouTubes. We do this and we record it. We put it on YouTube because we want to get as many people in the world to have access to the information. Of course, they have to speak English because that's what I speak. But
we haven't. I'll have to start picking up Spanish or something.
Yeah.
But let us know if there's anything we can do to help you. Otherwise, we will see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night.